Squeak, 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 squeak. Hi, everybody. How is everybody doing today? It is Monday. My name is Bear. I'm barely watercoloring. Uh, I want to try to get as much done today as I can. So that's going to require that I shut up and get to work. Because otherwise I'm not going to get anything done, and we're just going to be working on Voyager painting for weeks. Uh, so where we were last time, working on what you see in front of us. I've got some sample beginnings of nebula going. The top one using my main palette, and the bottom one using this green, the Kuretake palette. I need to crack these open, do another layer on top of each of these with each paint, and then test a different painting or a different nebula in the other one. I may choose one from our list, or I may go off the rails freestyle and make my own. Who knows? And then if we have time and we choose one that we like, we're going to start working on the big version. Oh, nerve-wracking. So yeah, we'll be doing that. So if lucky, we'll finally start working on the big painting today. So we'll see. In between last time and today, I did what I said, and I did some touch up on the masking fluid on the Voyager. So it's pretty well sealed now. So I think we're going to be okay when it comes to doing that. That aside, I do have some stuff to like partially show, but I'll wait until there are some people in that are chatting, and then I'll show some of the goodies that have arrived for Xmas. So yeah. In the meantime, I have some coffee, and then I can get started. Okay. Let me move some stuff out of the way here. I have this ready for when I don't need it just yet, so I may put it up completely, but I have it ready for when I start working on the I've gone stupid. When I start working on the engines, then it sells all the glowing, the red and blue parts. So I can make myself a quantity of each color, so I don't have to like remake it and then run out and then be like, oh shit, now I've got to figure out how to match the color again. I've got this app ready, but I think I'll put it up for now because I'm not near that point yet. And if you come in and hear some squeaks, it's because Comet just got a new toy and he is trying to kill the squeaker in it. He'll get it eventually. Put that down here. Oh, they're down here. Okay. It's gonna fall. All right. So I'm not going to show all the stuff that came yet, and I'm definitely not going to open them fully yet because I'm waiting for one more to show up before we can do a stream where we play with all of that. But one thing that did show up that I will show, I'll show again when somebody comes in, are these. So the jars I already had, but I finally got those little cleaning things. They have a little suction cup on the bottom to hold them down. So I can clean my brushes now a little bit more thoroughly when I'm painting. So all of these and my rinse water cups have these little suction cup cleaners on the bottom. I've got 3 of them. So I brought back my my derp. I can't think of the name. Hey guys, welcome in. Who nifty? Yes, I finally got these in. I've got one in this mason jar. That's the word I was looking for. One in this one. So these are my clean water containers. I got rid of the little tiny ones that I was using, the little cappuccino cups. I put them up over there. And my rinse cup is still here, but there's one on the bottom of it, which is primarily what I'll be using to clean the brushes with. So I've got one of each of those. That's a lot of fun. I'll put these over here. So I've got like oh, you know what would have been smart? To put the purple one down on the bottom of one of these instead of the green one, because then I could use the red one as my warm water, clean water container, and the purple one as my like blue, my cool colors. But it's okay. It doesn't have to be color coded. It just is smart. And since you're here, I can show something off. Sansa has been here for the most part. I have for a future stream. Oh my goodness. I already have it out of the box so I can look at it, but I have this. I have a new palette. I got a big one, a big chunky boy one, a heavy big chunky boy one, 3.75 pounds. It is a ceramic palette with a lid. Oh my hell. And it's heavy for a good reason. Uh, it's still in plastic. I'll open it on another stream. But it's got a nice, pretty decently thick plastic lid that doubles as an additional mixing well tray. That is meant to be a lid to help keep dust and dog hair and other stuff out of the mixing well area and the paint. And it's got 33 wells going all the way around it. So I've got room to put a lot of new pigment. Why would I have that if I didn't have this little cheat over here giving it away that there's new paint coming? So I've got the beginning of a new collection of paints coming to a stream near you sometime soon. I have one more set of these big ones coming that'll be here in sometime in the next few weeks. So whenever that comes, we'll crack all of this open. We'll line them up by their color spectrum, and we'll start choosing which ones we're going to put in our palette, and other ones might be duplicates because some of these might be the same colors. Just one or two of them, I think. And then I know the struggle to keep dog hair out is so real. It really is. This cover, I think, is going to be a godsend for that. I think this is too big. I'll check here in a minute. I think it's too big to put in one of my drawers. And even if it could go in a drawer, I think it's too heavy to be easily transportable to move in and out. So my purpose for this, especially with a lid, is to find a new home for it up here on my desk, and for the most part, leave it in the same spot. Then when I need it, pull off the lid, put it to the side, hydrate the thing to reactivate everything, and get to work using it. And just have it here, and then when I'm done for the day, put the lid on it, walk away. Right? So I think it's going to be a really cool, fun upgrade. And this right here, because I use so damn much of it, is a large version of the same brand, Indigo, because I use so much, right? So there's, I think, two small Indigos in the whole sets that I got, and then this one. So I'll have plenty. So when that last set of this comes, we're going to crack this sucker open and start laying out our palette once we choose our colors for it. The rest of the colors that are unique that will be left behind that aren't duplicates, they're going to be like when I need one, I take it out and I put a little bit in the bottom of the mixing well and we use it in that moment. But the rest are going to have permanent homes in the mixing well, whatever ones I use that I'll like the most, right? But when that happens, guess what that means? We'll get to make a whole new one of these. And it's clearly going to have to be much bigger because with what's coming, there's 10 in each of these. So I, at minimum, am going to have 56, 55, maybe a little bit less than that because of there being potential duplicates other than Indigo, but we're going to have a lot. That said, these are small, right? These are like, I mean, you can see some of them have names of artists on them because they're like curated. That's the word I'm looking for. A curated set, right, of their colors that they use most on their palette. So they're small. They're 5 milliliter tubes. By comparison, my standard tubes that I got for my Mary Blue are, I think, 12. Yeah, 12 milliliters each. So they're what, 2.5? This is 2.5 times what the individual tubes are in these sets. So I'm just going to have to be methodical about how much I put in each well and how much I'll have left to refill from. I think thinking it through, I think my main purpose with it is going to be to use it as like a try everything kit. Clearly not everything because Daniel Smith, who I went with, has hundreds of colors. They're one of those brands that has like a crap ton of colors, and I'm clearly never going to try all of them ever. I I could. It's in my shopping cart in Amazon to get some of their dot cards so you can try all the colors they've got. But that's a little overkill for me at my skill level. So I just wanted to get a nice collection of a bunch of different colors. I'll choose the best ones that make sense for me and what I do, including some primary and tertiary colors, which I did on purpose to try to make sure I have a surplus of that so I can mix my own colors as much as possible. And then someday in the future, should I start running out of these colors and I find that I like them because I'm using them, I can get, where'd it go? I can get more of those colors in this larger size like I did for the indigo. This is 15 milliliters, so 3 times the amount that's in one of the tubes in one of these. So I, at the very least, can get every color that they make in a larger tube. Once I decide that I like them and I'm using through a particular color, I can replace it with the big version. These are my taster set, right? But more than enough to last me for probably a year or more on a palette this big. I mean, it's going to take me forever to go through that. All right, and the theme ring. Let me call this up. I can get started because I found that in order for me to move forward and get some of the stuff done, I need to not yammer quite so much as I like to do sometimes. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited to get into these. Some of these colors are going to be so cool. Some of them you can't see because they put labels over the damn things, but you can see some of them right here. Oh, this is one of the ones that has indigo. This is one of them. This one, two of the colors are covered up by the label, so I can't see the names through it, but they're, I mean, they're across the top as well. See, these colors are gorgeous. Let's stack them up and put them next to each other and you can see them all. Just the ones I've got so far. Look at that. Look at that color collection. And there's a whole other 10 count set coming on these big ones. It's coming from who knows where, so it's got like a couple weeks left and it might show up in. So tons of great, beautiful colors. I cannot wait to organize. Right? It's so pretty. Like it's got some of these colors that I've been looking for. Like it's got some ceruleans in here, a couple, right? And it's got some of those like flamingo pink colors I've been looking for and trying to mix. It's got some already. And you can tell from looking at them, a lot of them have like granulation, which I've been honestly missing out on because a lot of my paints, they don't, they're not as high quality. So they tend to dry fairly even, fairly smooth. And this will add some additional texture when I am doing stuff. And we're just going to let whatever comes out of these come out of them. So yeah, I'm super excited. I can't wait. Last set, show up and then we can switch to doing that. But when I'm waiting, because I know how I am, if I try to do this early and assume and leave gaps for the one that's still on the way, I'll mess it up and I'll change the, I'll pull a, here, I'll pull one of these by accident. This and my green gold, it should have been higher up on my palette, and my brain has been tweaking ever since I've done this to myself. But once it was there, it was there. So I don't want to do that this time. I'm going to actually do it right. All right. Let's go ahead and scoot these off to the side for now. Actually, let me put them in a drawer, I think, to keep them safe. Not that one. This one, yours. You can go in here, my lovely new paints. And what's great about that is nothing's happening with my old paint sets. They're not going anywhere. This is just being added to my list of possibilities. Oh, it does fit. Well, the lid fits. Let's see. Can I? Oh, God, this is so heavy. Oh, if I were to put this in here, does it fit? Oh, thanks God. Well, I don't need to, but I at least know now that I have the flexibility to put this in my drawer. It goes in exactly in my drawers, just like this, if I want to. Yeah, it fits absolutely perfectly. So I'm actually very happy about that, that I'll be able to put this up when I'm done with it. That's great. I'm going to do that for now, just to get it out of the way. All right, that's awesome. Oh, I actually didn't need this. I left it out. That's gonna be so much fun when that shows up. I can't wait to go through all that. And what a colorful box this comes in too, right? Clearly this is a brand I think that's either trying to capture like the 60s and 70s or they've existed since then. I did not look up the history of this brand. Meaning, I know you're in Aries, but I would be willing to bet you have a lot of either Libra or Virgo in your chart. Yeah. How do you find out if you've got like how would you call that tertiary star signs? How'd you find out if you got that? I wouldn't even know. I didn't even know that was a thing. But yeah, I'm not surprised. Wacky, I'm a wacky dude. I wouldn't be surprised. Made in China. Okay, well, amazing they've got such eye for design. I mean, it's simple, but at the same time, I actually really like the look of this box. You need the date of birth, time of birth, and location of birth. Oh, you've told me that before. The only thing I do not directly have is my time of birth. That's something lost to the ages, unless by some weird screwball miracle it's on my birth certificate. I doubt it. I'll have to look for it. I've got my birth certificate somewhere, but I don't think it's one that has the time. I'd have to get like the full technical one. Um, because you've got like the one that looks like, a high school diploma where it's just like a certificate. And then there's the other one that looks like a full birth or death certificate that has like all the stats, the hospitals, extra information, and all that in it, and the times. I don't have that version. I would have to contact my place of birth and try to get that from them, which I could do. I don't need to, but I mean, I could just for knowledge. I do seem to vaguely remember that it was sometime in the morning, but if you need like to the minute, I don't have that. I put that over here for now. I'll find a better home to that box later. Gosh, lots all kinds of debris from picking up all of that over here. Ah, well, it is what it is. I'll scoot this set over here for now and use this one so we can go back and work on this set. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think my time of birth is on the regular certificate. Otherwise, I would have seen it and probably memorized it. So I'll have to pull it out at some point and see if it's on there. And if not, then maybe I can order. That's a piece of styrofoam. Order the full birth certificate. Actually, I've been needing to get a remade, updated birth certificate. Because I had a name change, and I think they can update your records to show a version all in one document. Right now, I have to keep two just in case. All right. If you have like general time, then I can probably just say it's sometime in the early morning on my birthday. But if it needs like to the minute or to the hour, then yeah, I'll have to look that up. Anywho, let me turn this. Oh, it's already down to one. What I'm going to do today, if you came in, I think tiny touch late, the bare essentials is I'm going to try to hit these two. This top left one here was with the palette I have open. And the bottom one I did with the Karatake set, which is off to my side over here. So I'm going to try to finish these sample ones off. And I actually need to go grab something in a minute, but I'll do that then. And I'm going to make another nebula on this side. And I might do two different ones. Depending on what I find from this one, I am probably going to choose the Karatake set. But we'll see. Whatever set I go with based off this one, is what I'll do for the samples. And if I have time left today, we're going to hit starting the big version on the Voyager painting, going off of what we find here. Scary. At least the first layer, just to get the base layer like we did here, and a nice faint background. All right. So what am I going to do? Oh, I'm just gonna go off of what I have in front of me instead of pulling that reference back up from last time. So let me go ahead and get some water on the palette really quick. All right. While I'm waiting for that, oh, I also have two more brushes coming. Um, it's been a while since I've shown the brushes that I've got. So while I'm waiting for this to sink in a tiny bit, I'll show a couple. I've got a few round brushes, all from Princeton. Sorry. No wonder it's freezing. I have primarily the Princeton Heritage Collection. What's that? Is that something from work? I just got some bullshit message from somebody I don't know. Ugh, I hate spam messages. I know, right? What kind of bullshit is this? Goddess, I'm gonna share this with you. And if it is you, I apologize, but this is not a message that you randomly get from somebody. Who who's it? I mean, come on now. Hell with that shit. Anyway, like if it came from a friend, that's one thing, but spam, yeah, right? Total spam bull crap. I'll report it and get rid of it later. But for now, we're moving on. Anywho, a majority of my brushes are Princeton Heritage. This was a suggestion from the first person that I watched watercoloring, Jenna Rainey. And I actually really like the quality of the brushes. There are far more expensive brushes out there, and there are far cheaper ones. This is right in the middle range. So I've got a couple sizes of round brush. I have a size 2, a size 6. I've got a couple bigger. I've got a size 12 and a size, I think 16. Yeah, 16. So we've got ourselves a few degrees of round brush, which is really what I go to the most. And you can tell because they've got the most discoloration from indigo than any other brush I've got. So yeah, I use the hell out of these. But one thing you notice about these is they are all round brushes. So what else do I have? I have two script brushes, which I rarely use, but I should, but it's because I don't have a really steady hand. These, when wet, they poof out a little tiny bit when they're dry. There we go. These are for like line work, doing thin lines on things, grasses, reeds, just thin lines on borders of stuff, whatever you want it to be, leaves. So I've got a size 1 and I've got a size 4 script brush, which I've actually never used. So I've got some script brushes. I've got some round brushes. Next up, we've got from, interestingly, from when we had theft, I've got 2 of each of these next ones. And when we reordered, actually a couple of these, I ended up getting 2 because Amazon was nice enough to replace it. And then we got the stolen package back. I've got 2 fan brushes. Is that what they call them? Yeah, fan brushes, size 4, 2 of those. Okay. I've got beep bop boop. Close that. I have 2 of these blooms brushes, which were an actual creation from Jenna Rainey working with Princeton. So she made 2 of these. Oh, I'm sorry. She made this type. It's a blooms brush mainly used for doing flowers. It's a Princeton Velvet Touch size 12. Of course, it goes out of focus as soon as I pull it. There we go. Yep. And it's got this kind of tip on it. So it's got like a slightly rounded tip. and it's kind of like an almost like an oval, like a half oval kind of shape. So it works really well for doing flowers, which I'm notoriously not great at, but it's because I don't practice. The purpose is that it, when wet, is thin enough on top that you can do stalks, like stems. You can do leaves by starting thin, pressing, and then letting up and get leaf shapes out of it. You can do petals by touching on the side like that. So it's meant to be like a multi-purpose flower brush. And I got two of them because of that shipping error or the theft. Aside from that, I also got two of these brushes. They are wash brushes, number one or 1 inch wash brushes from the Princeton Heritage Collection. I got two of them. Same dealio. And I think that is the last. No, I have one more. Yep, I have one more Princeton brush. It is this Mottler brush, which is interestingly, ironically, modeled with paint from me making stars on things. So this is a 1.5 inch Mottler brush from Princeton, from their Aqua Elite line. Uh, so what I've got coming. I am sorry I didn't have it written down. However, what I am missing from my collection here are some square shaped brushes. I have big ones. This is the smallest square tipped brush that I've got, and it's 1 inch. So it's a bit much, especially when I need small stuff. So I've got two different sizes of a square headed brush coming. That way I've got some options when I don't want to use just a round brush, but I want to get some coverage. And a round brush just can't do it without me constantly going back for more paint. I figured I need something in the middle. So I went ahead and got a couple of those while I was getting the rest of this stuff. That's all. It was all to get to that point. I have some non-Princeton brushes too that I haven't really used, like these dagger tipped brushes, which are kind of cheap, but I need to play with and see how they go. And then some really, really cheap brushes that are for like if I don't care about what happens and I want to get like acrylic paint on them and they dry up, I won't be hurt by that. Well, I've yammered enough and comet sparking. Okay, let's go ahead and mix up. Hey, stay down. There we go. Oh, it is down. It just moves. Interesting. It's like a lily pad in there. Let's go ahead and pick on our violet purple color. I've got some up here still. Mix it up. I'm just gonna add a couple little highlights of that purple where the purple lives. And oh, and I think there was a little down in here too. You reach out, took me a year to believe it was over. Took me 2 more to get over the loss. Whoa. Being when you rip those letters. And never time not even day the taste of your lip gloss. And that we never really each other way. All right. Let's get some or a pinkish kind of color. And same deal. I'm just going to connect some of it to this. And the rest, I'm just going to kind of scribble and just be a little messy with it. And on the edge, I'm trying to make it touch a little bit with the purple I put down. So it blends a little. and respecting each other. But you listen to into my bay. And the breeze is strange thing. Oh, I need it. Okay. One. All right. Let's go ahead and go for some of the indigo I've got down here. That fun. Whoa, whoa. Hey. You can lost. There's a that's good. That was three just short of that. And it's only fair to say that's because I'm 15 years old. And communication. In the communication, no, I need it. It got a cold. I could work in my, I could do it over you, but I don't want to. I think I'm probably going to end up doing a totally just off the cuff, tried and true bare abstract nebula for the big one, but we'll see. But we'll see. Ads are happening. I'll just keep on doing what I'm doing. I'm dressed to. Is that so? I'm just telling me. Everyone is, I mean, that has to me. Everyone is, Everyone is interested in me and as a postcard with June paint. To be and me. So much fun. Love this time of year. I do genuinely love this time of year, but I'm being facetious because we have to have notifications on for some channels in our messaging network, depending on who you are and what department you're in. For me, now the fun few people, not few, but one of the people that are on salary who get to be bothered at any given hour. Not necessarily like, hey, I need your help. I mean, it could be, but we have to be notifications on during the holiday season. Have spur or retail happening. So we have to be basically like emergency on call, which is fine. It's annoying, but I mean, it's only annoying because certain channels have to be all notifications enabled. So people will put it in there at all hours of the night and put like 10 messages and we could have just done one giant one. That's the only part that annoys me. I've been on call basically the entire time I've worked there, at least in my current role, because I expect to be for what I do. And that's fine. But at least when I am needed, people will at me by my name. So I get very specific, targeted, hey, I need your help messages, or they'll call me, which is expected. And I want to be bothered in the moment, because if things are left unspoken and I come in and things have been blowing up for 12 hours, it's a bigger problem, right? But this is like every inane message that somebody posts, we all have to suffer through that are in this channel. And I just got one. I'm going to do that. It's not a big deal. It's just annoying. Just annoying. And it's only for this season. So once it's over, we'll be fine. That dried up completely. I need a little more. Need to try it off. There we go. Just wanted to add some like smoky little tendrils coming off this bottom line because it's too sharp. And I'll add some into this dusty area. Well, now I want to know what's annoying. The ads were on, so I didn't hear that part. Oh, short version is I got a message from work because during the holiday season, I and a bunch of other people at our corporate are in a channel that gets every single notification for every message put into it because everyone has to have eyes on it. And normally I'm like in a permanent on-call situation for emergencies for what I'm over. And I'm fine with that because it's targeted, but for this particular thing, we're all in it and people aren't using the channel right. Some are, most are, but there's a particular set of messages that go out from some people about stuff that doesn't pertain to me, but they're also unwilling to put their complete thought in one message. And they're just like, message, alert, message, alert, message, alert. And I'm like, these paragraphs, fucker. That's what they're for. But no, it's okay. It's fine. It's life. That's what it is. Here's what it is. Stop complaining about work. Okay. Yeah. There's a piece of me that's like, don't say things because you never know who's watching. But I'm like, one, nobody at work is watching this. And two, should someone want to come in here and look at what I have to say, I'm not saying anything bad. I'm speaking the same kind of stuff that I say to the people at work because I'm not an ass about it, but I am vocal about things that need to be spoken about. You know, it's part of who I am and who I've become over the years, but you get to a certain point, or some of us get to a certain point where you follow the same flow that you're expected to, like it's always best to do this in this way. Make sure you talk, business appropriate in this exact aspect, and make sure, whenever someone says something, you bow down to them and you do what they say because they're your superior or they're whatever or whatever, that kind of thing. But there's also the hidden agenda bullshit and the speaking in riddles on purpose to try to obscure what's being truly said. And, all the lies, all the bullshit. And I'm not a psychic, but I also want to see through all of that to the core reason why people are doing the things that they do. And I call them out on it sometimes. Not often, but it's when it occurs and has to be said, I'm willing to say it, but like not an asshole way that will get me fired. I try to keep it as business appropriate as possible while still calling people out. I have to be honest though, I haven't had to do that for a while now, like probably a couple of years, I think. Like everything's just like business as usual. But man, on those rare situations where there's moments and you have to call someone out, like a contractor or something, man, you got to just say it. I just saw my name, but it wasn't me. It's another person with my name. Let me read this really quick. 1990, illness 1994. You don't. Okay. It has nothing to do with me. It's another person with my name. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes you have to stick up for yourself. It's that. Um, but it's also like I don't like cliche, expected, stereotypical conversations. You know what I mean? Like the expectation is that you're supposed to say this, and that's what everybody in a business of the same caliber says in a scenario because it's expected the canned response is what you're going to give. And then you have to beat around the bush and finally get the information out of somebody. And that drives me up the wall. I want all the information out on the floor immediately, all of it. I don't care if it's ugly. I don't care if it's beautiful. I don't care if it's unpolished. Just cut through the crap and get to the core information that you need to get the job done, right? And some people like to just beat around the bush and hide things and obscure things. And thankfully, it doesn't really happen that much anymore. We used to have a big problem with it, but it cleared up considerably over the last couple of years. But every now and then, there's that little piece of it where some person in another department suddenly becomes a part of the channel that you're in, and they get really, really noisy because they don't quite understand the flow of things yet, and they're still in that old style brain that's just annoying. But it's fine. For the most part, it has been good. So I'm not gonna say anything more about it. Well, I'll say that. I need more purple. More purple, please. Purple, purple, purple. Yeah, see, I'm already an hour in, and I'm only on this one. I need to speed it up a little bit. Let me just add some random stuff here. Not, not. Whoa, that was scratchy as hell. Well, it's happy hour again. Mm, no, don't. Young and be old. Well, anyway, how are you doing today, guys? Having a good day? A good Monday? Hopefully. Peaceful. Nobody nagging or bugging you. All right. I know screwed was that one enough. Actually, let me move this over here because it was wet. I don't want to accidentally get it on the paper that Voyager is on. Alternative girl. Now I need to cannot pretend. Right? And we are just going to blast right into doing this bottom one and just going to mess. And then I'm going to try to do some random stuff over here that I had a thought for. Okay. All right, same dealio. I believe we were using Carmine. For some of the pinks. just kind of screwing around. Kind of doing what I usually do, which is when I go quick, I screw up. Whoops. Uh, whoop. Yeah, let's get some more in the grow. They called me Eddie. Excuse me, gosh. I just got something in my throat. Why all that coffee? Nah, that's probably fine. Yes, I hear you growling. Okay. I'm gonna let those ride. Let's experiment in the corners. Okay. So I think I'm going to do one abstract one in this corner. And I'm going to use salt. And then I'm going to do another abstract one in the bottom right corner. But I'm going to grab a little container and some dish soap and a straw and a spoon and go ahead and blow some bubbles and put them down and add the pigment on top of it to let it drip down. And then put some plastic over it and let it sit like that for a little while we let everything else around it dry. And then once everything's kind of popped and settled, we'll pull the plastic off and dry it with heat gun just to get the final texture down. And then we'll add some stars to it and peel it all and take a look at it all. So let's get that started. So I am going to just pick some random colors. I think I was liking the idea of doing a like a really light colored one. So, I think what I'm going to do, let me do this a little differently. Let me spray. Yeah, no, some of the other one's going to bleed into it, whatever. So I'm going to start with some of this ultramarine pale, and I'm going to leave a lighter colored section. I'll go a little darker with it around the edge of it. And leave enough of it to blend over here. Let's grab some ultramarine and we'll start adding a tiny little bit of it around the edges. And grab a little bit more, go a little darker with it. Sometimes I just like what I do and I do abstract better. All right. And let's get some of this cerulean blue next to it and go really thick with it, like stupid thick. That's pretty wet. And I'm going to be putting salt down. So let me pull up some of this. And maybe some of this malachite color in the middle. Start shifting it into like a kind of a green. This also has a lot of water. Okay. And I'll add some indigo hits. And get just a really dark version in the corner over here. Right. And I'm going to hit a little more of the malachite. And I'm going to just hit darker in a couple spots. And do I have a viridian? I do. Tiny bit of that. And put it just dot it. Well, I didn't pick any of that up. There we go. Okay. And I'll grab a little bit more of that ultramarine pale. I'll just dot it in here. Right. And before it dries, let's get some salt on it. Okay. And somehow that leaked down here and get me that. I'm just going to cover it up in a minute. Okay. That's fine. All right. I'm going to let that sit and think about what it did. Have some coffee. All right. I'll be right back. I am going to set my headphones down and mute for a second and go grab some soapy water and all the stuff I need for this one. Be right back. All right. Hi. Yeah. Good play. And walls black. Started with the big bang. All right. It's got a tiny little bit of blowback from the one above it. We're going to roll with it. And we got ads too. So I'm going to let the ads finish up. But going to give it a minute. Oh, I remember this from before. Let me get some paper towels. Just have some ready. When you can. I'm not there yet. When you dream. There it is. What do you dream about? When you dream. What do you dream about? We're working on that today. Okay, that's done. Yes, great. All right, let's blast through this sucker. I'm gonna go ahead and make some bubbles, put them on here, and we're gonna pick some random colors and let them settle. I am just gonna skip the plastic because I didn't grab any. It's kind of wild since I played with soap bubbles. What are you dreaming about? Okay. I'll start putting something on it now. I'm not going to get it all. So let's scoot that over. Let's get some colors on here and see what it does. Let's go with some of the same colors that I started with here, but I need them to be wet. So let me really add some water to some of these. When I'll wake up suddenly and then hit my local college, earn me a degree and I can work weekends. If I work real hard, I could mow your backyard. I could go to Europe, travel with your friends. I could blow 1,000 tow trucks to get your cat powers from Australia. Just backpack. I think I let it get a little too wet. Isn't it? Yeah. See what's from. Yeah, I probably should let that dry and then done this. I'll let this dry the way it is, and then I'll add more to it. Doing the right bitch, double over on hands and knees. Never spend a single day in retail. Telling people what they want to hear, telling people anything to make a sale. You the food court with the old board. Never is enough. Never want to do that stuff. Yeah, I think I let this get too wet. Let me make some adjustments. Okay. Let's see what we can do to correct this. I know one way. This little town. If you question what I do to get over and be with you, lift you up over everything, light up my roof. There's a shopping cart in the ravine. Just the ice cream. Always on fire, like my way home. There are luxuries we can't afford. With our house, we never get bored. And we can dance to the radio station that plays in our teeth. If you question what I would do to get over and be with you, lift you up over everything. What is my doing? Okay. I know that ahead of time. I always have to crack these open because I won't ever be able to pry them open in the heat of the moment. Oh gosh, like this one. Oh, my yard. Okay, there we go. Okay, make some fresh bubbles. Ah. If anyone has a better way to apply bubbles to the surface of watercolor paper, please let me know. Without getting all the excess water that comes with it to just pour it onto it. Let go. All right. Geez, I got soap all over my hand. One of the reasons I don't always like using soap. All right. Let's get some in here quick before all this just disappears. All right. What the hell? Come on. What? What? I'm not going to do this one. Okay, so I had the cadmium red is out for the engine, and so is the cerulean, and the rest can go up. Okay. All right, I'm going to put up the soap. I'll be right back. All right, back. Thanks for waiting. The salty one there is still very wet and is drying. The more I talk in the direction of the bubbles one, it starts popping. So I'm going to try not to let it set up a tiny bit before all the bubbles are gone. And then once that dries, I will add some darker colors around it, heading toward our indigo colors. And then maybe layer a little bit of some stuff on top. And if not, I'll leave it exactly the way it is. Because I think on a huge sheet of paper, I think doing a combination of salt and the bubbles will get the best results. And put some really cool textures on there. I may even whip out the plastic wrap for that one and truly go to town with some of the liquid inks. So we'll see. Love it. That looks super cool. Reminds me of the giant amoeba from Star Trek, the original series. It does, doesn't it? The one that took up like the whole solar system or whatever and like ate up all the planets inside of it. I remember that. With me, every night, some things they gotta find it on me. I'm less impressed with the ones on the left. They're okay. I just, and clearly if I add another layer on top to tie this side together and then hit it with stars, it'll look good. But I mean, I can work on that while this is a drawing. It's got some time. Open. And then I'm just going to use the Kuretake set that I've got out here already. You love the ones on the left? Oh, good. I'm glad. Let's see how much I can screw them up. You just play on. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Out, just get tame alone in the sheets, 3 inches deep, and claim defeat. Ba, 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 ba. Chapter writ and lesson learned. Dive she burned 100 degrees. What I freeze. See, downtown, I look around. Tell me, what's that for? Second World War. What's that for? Tight fence. Fairfield is best. Things to do and things I've done. As night's begun. So, downtown, look around. The main road. Always a ribbon sound. Always one I've never found. And your man. I can't avoid. When you sleep, when you sleep, when you sleep. Were you? And I wish that I were you. But that shall turn blue, I suppose. I'd start by removing all my clothes. Tie a pantyhose all around my neck. I'll be that girl you would be right over. If I were here, you would be in clover. Dear shadow, if I had a gun, there'd be no tomorrow. Me as myself, just someone have something and being worth noticing. I'll be that girl right on the line. If I were, you would be in clover. You would be in shadow. If I had a gun, there'd be no tomorrow. It's time to take off your shoes. Put on the track and my God. I think that girl, you would be right on time. That's it. Everything goes tomorrow. Here's what happens as much around me. Which is what I'll never do. Here's for all that's my favorite deal. Here's what I know, which is how I sometimes feel like I'm the only man on earth and I've forgotten what that's worth. Here's for he's so lovable, drunk. He is amazingly hilarious punk. Here's for here's for a parent. He's for antagonism that's not even there. It's just you begging for attention is something I won't even mention. Don't even know where I keep on trying. Don't even know where I keep on. Okay. Why do I try to sing Stephen Page? She sings so high. Two won't can't let go. Because I like the music. Whoops, that's a way too thick. Because he was very cool. He is for religion. There's some wells in the river giving me an erection on and trying to show affection for longer than I have had known. And mine. This one's just whatever. And uh, I used to know I'll be for you and long ago. And symbol. Yes, precious soul, which is what I am. Hurry with me. I owe you an apology. I'm sorry. Windows. The only fountain drinking at the crowd. That I'm marketing elixir that will eliminate the common cold. Find your sickness on my list. Pay up front and make a wish. One day I will work with animals. All the tests are gonna do. All my stuff's completely natural, and when we're done, I'll boil them down for glue that we can use to reheal here. Your lips to mine if you were here. I would never not do so fantastic, I know it's true. And it's just my want to be with you. I can't stay to wait I'm not, so I built a new machine. And I just managed to out the distance, and then eliminates the forks between. I would never do some fantastic, I know it's true. Yeah, I'm not And it seems to be on the street. More ads. You see other guys are jerks. That's it. Okay. So, what are we doing with? Let me brush the salt off. Uh, okay. I think there's some takeaways from this that I will do next time, and we will just blast through it. Uh, Clearly I'm in the moment. I don't like any of them, but that's my in the moment where I'm like, I hate what I do sometimes, and I just don't like how the results came out. But there's lessons to be learned in what I've done. Um, this, I think I went too far. This, I went too far and tried to fix it and went too far. This one, I didn't quite go far enough. I think this one's the best out of the ones here. Uh, and then this one, I don't know if using the soap method is going to work incredibly well in the big form. Because I think everything's going to be too dark. Uh, that said, I can fix that in a lot of ways. I can do things right, for one thing. I think I will not do so many colors. If I do this, I will just stick with the yellow and the two blues and let that be the extent of the colors. And I will get the first layer of all the indigo down all at once. That said, the indigo that I have in this Kuretake set is not great for what I usually do. So I think what I will do is use these two for the engine and the nacelle colors, those red and the blue. I'm going to, I think, use my main palette, go light, and then a second quick layer, and then salt, and get all the indigo around the outer edges done all at once in one big swoop. And then if I need to go back over the whole thing again with another layer, I can do that after that one dries. But I think I will do light colors. I'll stick with, I might do the liquid watercolors, but if I do, I'm going to have a batch where I thin it. So I can start with that and then do the thicker bits on top of it afterward. But I don't think I'm going to do the soap bowls because I do like the look, but it's hard to control. I might. We'll see. I might do a little bit of both. I might do salt. I might do some of the soap, but I think I may be a little bit more not over the whole thing. I may do like cloud sections with the soap to do the bubbles over certain sections and then salt in between, and then cover it with plastic and then walk away from it and move it to the side and work on another project. That being said, I think let's get some stars on this and peel it and see what it looks like as it is to just learn from that. I might actually add a little bit more indigo and then dry this one because it's quite not spacey enough. Okay. I'm gonna start letting that dry. Uh, okay. All right. You can go here. You can go here. Let's knock this out. You won't believe this, but I'm getting white paint everywhere. I'm trying to be kind of smart about it, but you know. Get in there. There you go. Right. Let me move this to the side and get some water and move this and this to the side. Okay. And let's try this off the rest of the way. Yeah, I knew it was going to bleed because it was so wet, and I let it sit. That's fine. This isn't meant to go on a wall. This is just practice. This one was expected to do this, I think, because of using the soapy water. Made the tape rise up. Yeah, that's a thing. Again, practice sheet meant to be kind of weird, and it was. Still a little damp, actually. So, it's got a bunch of colors. It's what it is. It's colorful. Um, out of all of them, I mean, if you ignore the bleed over the edges, I do kind of like the one on the bottom right. This one is faint, but also kind of nice. This one has a really good look as well. I actually kind of like that one, how that came out. The stars helped. This one's just a mess because it went dark and then light and then dark and then light. And I just didn't really get it to balance out well. And by that point, it was too much. I got rid of all of the lightness in that. So this one was the best out of those two. Clearly because it didn't too overdo it. And this one was just too dark. I think if I didn't do the brown, or maybe just didn't do the red in there and just stuck with the brown and then the other ones, it probably would have made more sense. I do like the look of this red spider on the blue, though. So I don't know. It's hard to tell. I think I will stick with my idea of not using the soap because this leaves like a soapy residue that I don't think I'll ever be able to get rid of. That will be on the permanent one. And I don't really want that. You can see like right there, some of those black bits. Right there. That's like the soap, with the soap kind of coalesced as it dried. So if I do it, I'll go very light on the amount of soap and very light on how much of it I use and try to just do a couple here, a couple there, and then stop. And then hit the rest of it with salt where I want salt, and then the rest of it just natural. And I'll just do a light pass, a mid-tone pass, a couple dots of really darker color with the soap, and then put the salt down, and put all the indigo all the way around it, fanning out to around and over the ship, and then stop and let it dry naturally, put plastic on top of it and everything, and just leave it and let it dry naturally without me forcing it. And then we'll come back to it the next time we stream and peel it off and see how it came out. And then if we need more on top, we will. But otherwise, if I'm lucky, I'll get away with it being still kind of light with a couple of dark spots naturally in it. And then the indigo will be a good enough darkness that I will leave it alone the way it is. I don't want to go back and do a second pass because that's where I start getting all these kind of funky hard edges when I put a second layer on. And it's hard to make it look like it's meant to be on the lighter colored background. I'm not quite sure how to combat that yet. I think it's just my method needs tweaking. I think when I do the lighter background and I go into it and I add highlight of the brighter color, I need to make sure to shrink how much I'm adding and only slightly go over the top. And then try to use a smaller brush for the edges of things or a fan brush or something that gives me more variation on what I'm putting down. Because a round brush tends to leave those big blobby areas. Part of it, I think, is water control. I think I'm using too much water all the time. But I think I'm using too much water, and that's making it where I'm putting down blobs of water instead of specks and control. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think I'll tweak my process. I may do one last quick test before I commit to doing something on the Voyager background. And again, remember, let me grab it. Again, my purpose in life here is to have something small in the top right corner here. So even something as small or maybe slightly larger than like these, right? Have them in the corner, and then it needs to fade into indigo around it. I don't want it to take up the whole page. I want it to be like a quarter, the top quarter, or maybe a little bit in from that and overlapping just barely behind the saucer to show that they're almost at it. And but they're still at war. They're still heading towards it, but I don't want it to take over. I want there to still be pure, mostly pure indigo, like space color in this whole section down here, here, and on the bottom area. And it can be encroaching on the bottom, but not hitting all of it. And maybe even some darkness over here. I want it to be small in the background, not overdone space, and it's heading toward it. Because the focus in the bottom left corner should be the starry streaks from warp and the ship. And then the right side can be the focus of the nebula as they're heading towards. So that's my plan. Doing one more demo of what we want to do, I think will be smart. And then we'll commit to putting it on this one once we have a process that we like. And then we're doing it. Next stream, Thursday, it's happening. I'm doing something on this. No matter what, I'm filling the sucker up corner to corner. Whew. Hold your breath. It's going to happen. All right. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and stop. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you being here. Goddess, thank you so much for being here. Let's go ahead and see if I can reach my keyboard and do a shout out. It's way over there. I'm going to do it. S-O at Goddess. There you are. Awesome. Please follow Goddess Whispers. She's absolutely amazing in everything she does. She's been playing a lot of Stardew Valley for the umpteenth time. It's hard to say, but it's all good. It's so fun watching her play it. Absolutely love it. And her exclamations when something crazy happens is great. She hates Harvey. Who doesn't? Guy charges too much. But she also does a lot of crafting. Recently, she's been doing crochet work. Occasionally, she dabbles in watercoloring as well. And then sometimes she goes off the rails and does really weird stuff, like doing like sunlight photography using, oh shit, what was it called? That yellow turmeric. So yeah, I mean, just check her out. She's always willing to do something different and fun. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and head on out. I'm not going to raid anyone because I'm too tired to bother to look for somebody. Again, have a great night. And thank you for hanging out with me. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.